Hi everyone, my name is Deepika Narayan Bhardwaj. I'm an independent journalist and a documentary filmmaker. For all of you who have followed my work and followed my posts on social media for the longest of time, have been asking me why I haven't, expressed much on Sushant Singh Rajput's case, especially in terms of a video or expressing my elaborate opinion on this. Well, yes, I have refrained from speaking anything on this case, which has actually shadowed every conversation in the last few months, I would say, because one, I thought I was just too taken aback by loss of such a young life, and two, I thought it's the duty of investigative agencies, police, and courts to basically find out the truth of this matter, especially if there has been a foul play, unlike what initially was told, that it's a case of a suicide. Of course, there are several facts and evidences that definitely point towards, this not being a suicide and definite involvement or some sort of a foul play in this, even if it, was a case of suicide. But there's something terribly wrong that's gone behind this death, and that definitely had to come out. But I chose not to go on any TV debates because I just did not want to, put out uncorroborated things, or just hear something from here and then put it out in a news debate. And that's why I refrained from participating in any debates on this. But the reason that I'm speaking up today is, or I'm sharing my opinion with all of you today, is because there's something that has happened in the last few days which has astounded me, appalled me. मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि लोग इतने ज़्यादा अपनी ओपिनियंस में, अपनी एम्पैथी में चुनिंदा कैसे हो सकते हैं. आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड हाउ पीपल कैन बी सो सिलेक्टिव इन देयर आउटरीच. Now, where I'm coming from is, for the last few days, first it started with some people coming out with Rhea's side of the story, and I honestly believe there are always two sides of the story, and both of the stories should come out. But the fact is that it's only a person like Rhea who has been given a platform to put her side of the story. When a lot of influencers, be it from Bollywood or from news media, senior most journalists or opinion shapers, when they're saying, this is sort of a media trial which is happening for Rhea Chakroborty, I beg to ask them, where were all of these people, especially those from Bollywood, who last year, when Me Too happened, or during the entire phase of Me Too, were in sort of a rush to take action against anybody whose name slightly appeared, in any tweet, any uncorroborated, confession or anything, without any evidence, without any circumstantial evidence, without any facts. Just one incident shared by somebody, that too anonymously, led to ousted of so many people, so many men. So, of course, majorly men, not majorly, entirely men. Where was this whole idea of innocent till proven guilty went that time? That time it was all in the zest of justice. So now when entire nation is, raising their voice for justice for a person who think that, has been put to death because of some, wrong things that happened to them, then why does not this sound, justice to you, or you think that this is being done in zest of justice? Where did your, moral compass that nobody should be declared guilty before they have been put to a trial go? When there was a case of Sarvjit Singh, the Delhi boy who was called molester, and, his parents were called molester's parents, and he was, sort of tried in front of entire media and actually rallied in front of media with a journalist shoving mic in his face. Where is your sympathy when a man who was declared innocent in a rape case went to the Supreme Court saying, return my dignity, because when I was accused everybody took my name, but when I was acquitted the media never showed it? Where's your sympathy when there are in number of cases where people, men or women as well, are declared innocent after being accused of a certain crime? I remember seeing post of one of a very senior journalists saying, why are we calling Rhea Chakroborty an accused when, she has not yet been charged, and until a person is charged, that person remains to be a suspect. Well, where does this notion go when on a daily basis people are called all kind of names, murderers, rapists, molesters and everything? Nobody calls them a suspect. Their name is splashed all across the media, and you and I and everybody has seen all of these media trials. Why so much of sympathy arises when it's case of a woman who is an accused, right? There are so many men who are tried on a daily basis on social media, in national media, but that time nobody says that it's the patriarchy that is targeting these men. There are so many innocents who get acquitted. They do not get any compensation. They stay in jails for years and years. But nobody at that time says, what happens to these innocent lives? And just because Rhea happens to be a famous name, a part of Bollywood, everybody from Bollywood is jumping. Otherwise I see a lot of cases of common citizens being taken by Bollywood, but only when the left, raises a certain voice and they have a particular, sort of a entire lobby working behind it. Where does your sympathy go when a common person stays in jail for years and years? A petty thief is not able to get bail, and that person stays in jail years and years, for a mere crime of stealing 100 rupees. Where does your sympathy go then? If you have to actually get into the domain of justice and rightful trials, then why don't you raise voice for common people who become victims of the system every single day? If this wasn't enough, Rhea wore a t-shirt which says roses are red, violets are blue, let's smash patriarchy, me and you. Where did patriarchy come in this from? Where exactly? I don't understand. I just don't understand. Well, madam, you were sort of given a clean chit for the longest of time. You were not even interrogated. You were not even suspected for the longest of time in the case of Sushant Singh Rajput, when it is the other way around. If a woman commits suicide or dies an unnatural death, the first hand of suspicion is always, finger of suspicion is raised always invariably on the boyfriend or the husband, or the man in her life. And there are so many cases where without any evidences people have been arrested, people languish in jail for years and years until their innocence is proved. So where did your patriarchy, madam, go when you were not suspected at all and when you were not called at all, when there was so much of background, you destroyed data, you destroyed so many things. So patriarchy wasn't working then? Did patriarchy work only when you started getting interrogated? And to all the people who have then from Bollywood posted the same smash patriarchy thing, well, ladies and gentlemen, do you have any idea how cluttered our jails are? Do you have any idea that in men barracks, if it's a capacity of 80 people, there are 500 people in those barracks? Would you say patriarchy is the reason that these men are being so ill-treated and their human rights are violated every single day? What would you say when police beats up and reduces men into pulp, and we saw a case of custodial harassment from Kerala a few days ago where 2 men lost their lives. Where was patriarchy then? Why didn't you raise any slogans then? Why is this selective, bringing up of patriarchy when you probably have no other thing? I am just appalled at the double standards and such shallow hypocrisy of people who actually have a voice and who can make a difference. Well, all that I wanted to say is, don't be so biased. Don't be so biased, and perhaps open your eyes to the injustice to the wrongs that is happening to so many people. It's not just about making a movie on some of these. I think it's about looking at lives, and not just very important lives. When something like this happens, and when you all jump in order to protect one person, when what that person has been subjected to is perhaps not even 0.0001% of the kind of ordeals that people actually go through, and then bring in the angle of feminism and patriarchy because it's a woman. Well, there was Shovik arrested on similar charges. There are other men who have gone behind bars in this case. Strangely, the whole perspective of patriarchy did not appear then. So what is it really about? That whenever a woman is accused, you would bring the woman card and just forget the equality that you so propagate and ask people to follow. Then I think it's selective bias and not equality really. And surprisingly and coincidentally, the t-shirt that I'm wearing today says, एक चीज जो कभी गलती लड़कियों की नहीं होती वो होती है गलती. And I so as a woman, I feel it is happening so much around us, and it's nauseating. When a woman openly gives threats of booking people who had come to her for asking for their own money, she says she will book them under a false rape case. You see an honest forest officer being booked under charges of molestation because that person is just doing their duty. You see a woman slapping a guard in one of the societies in Mumbai and then booking a molestation case against the guard. When none of these women are tried or punished at all, that time none of you actually ever complains about patriarchy. I don't know, where does your complaint against patriarchy go then, when a bunch of boys and girls are caught in rave parties, and the boys are put behind bars and the girls are just let go? Where does your complaint against patriarchy go then? Where does your complaint against patriarchy go when there are special quotas, being created every single day in jobs and institutions for women, and merit is people are making merit let go in order to have, in the name of gender equality. Where does your complaint against patriarchy go then? Why does this complaint against patriarchy come only when it's a woman who is being tried just the same way that men get tried all the time? Either it can be equality or it can be special treatment. That's what I wanted to say. And please do remember patriarchy when women are giving advantages, benefits, perks, special treatments, privileges. They're not arrested. They're not, whatever they say is accepted. In the court of law, they are always given preference. What they say is given the preference. Maybe you could say a little bit about that as well. Thank you.